Good afternoon. Today we will be looking at motivational theories. Since the beginning of industrialization and the advent of factories, people have been trying to figure out what motivates employees. Now, different people who've tried to figure this out have come up with different answers, resulting in many different theories of motivation. In a general sense, you can think of motivation as this diagram shows. Now, each of us has needs. Obviously, your needs will be different from my needs, but each of us is motivated by our needs to exhibit certain behaviors, and the aim of our behaviors is to see if we can satisfy our needs. Whether our needs are satisfied or not can then cause us to change our needs, and in this way, the cycle begins again with our new needs potentially causing us to exhibit new behaviors. For example, you are thirsty and your thirst is satisfied. You may develop a new need of hunger and try to satisfy your hunger. Now, as we have already said, there are many different theories of motivation. However, they can be categorized into two groups: content and process theories. Content theories look at motivation from the perspective of our needs and our aspirations. These theories then discuss motivation in terms of fulfilling these needs. So we can think of content theories as focusing on what will motivate us. Process theories, on the other hand, look at how people are motivated. They're concerned with the process by which motivation occurs and how we can adjust our processes to alter motivation levels. So we can think of process theories of motivation as focusing on how motivation occurs. Now let's jump in and give an overview of these theories of motivation, starting with content theories. First, we have Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Maslow describes needs in terms of hierarchy, and the concept is that needs at the bottom of the hierarchy must be satisfied before an individual can move to the next level and seek to satisfy these needs. The five levels are physiological needs, such as food, water, and sleep; safety needs, things like security, stability, protection; social needs, like having relationships and belonging to professional or work associations; esteem needs, such as self respect, prestige, and status; and finally, self actualization, such as growth and advancement. Next is Herzberg's two-factor theory. Herzberg argued that there are two factors which are essential in the motivation of employees: motivators and hygiene factors. Motivators encourage you to work harder if present, so for example, having an interesting job, and hygiene factors cause you to become unmotivated if they are not present. For example, having poor working conditions or having poor pay. Next up is Magellan's three needs theory. This argues that each of us has three needs that exist on a scale. So we have the need for achievement, need for affiliation, which means collaborating with others with the need to be a part of a group, and finally the need for power. Managers can use the three needs theory to set motivational targets tailored to each of their team. Now let's move on to the process theories. First, we have Bloom's expectancy theory. This states that a person will choose their behavior based on what they expect the result of that behavior to be. And for an employee to be motivated, three factors must be present. Expectancy is the belief that if you put the effort in, it will be possible for you to hit your targets, meaning your targets are actually achievable. Instrumentality is the belief that you will receive the reward if you actually hit your targets. And finally, valence. You must value and want the reward that's on offer. If you multiply these three factors together, then the higher the result, the higher the motivation will be. Next is Porter and Lawler's expectancy theory. Porter and Lawler's theory is a lot more complex than Broom's. In this diagram, what Porter and Lawler show as the perceived effort-reward probability is similar to Broom's idea of instrumentality. This expectancy arises from our perceptions of our abilities and traits, and how these relate to the way that we interpret our immediate wrong. Broom's idea of balance is here too, and it's the perceived value of the rewards that we're going to get, both the intrinsic and extrinsic rewards. Intrinsic rewards being those rewards that we feel in ourselves, like satisfaction, pleasure, pride, knowledge that we're developing. The ability to take more control over our work, they're all intrinsic rewards. Extrinsic rewards come from the outside of us. They are the recognition, the praise, and the monetary rewards that we get for doing a good job. We can see that our satisfaction arises from both the rewards we receive from our performance and from our perception of how fair these rewards are. And of course, this satisfaction then feeds into the effort that we are motivated. Next up is equity theory by Adams. This says that high levels of employee motivation can only be achieved when each employee perceives their treatment to be fair relative to others. For example, if you are paid half what your colleague earns but do precisely the same work, how would you respond? This theory says that you'll adjust your inputs, that is amount of work that you do, to compensate for the perceived unfairness of receiving half the pay, which is the output. So Adam's equity theory is based on a ratio consisting of inputs to outcomes. Inputs can include abilities, effort, performance, age, seniority, education, and other attributes. And outcomes can include pay, benefits, status, symbols, and even intrinsic rewards. Next is Locke's goal setting theory. This is based on the premise that if you set the right goals, then you can increase both motivation and productivity. So, what are the right goals? In order for the goal to be the right one, it must have clarity, challenge, commitment, feedback, and complexity. Clarity means goals should be clear and specific. Challenge. Goals should be challenging enough to be motivating. Commitment. Everybody must be committed to the goal happening. Feedback. Feedback on the goal should be considered, and complexity. Goals must be achievable. And we have here the last process theory, which is Hyder's attribution theory. Hyder defined two different types of attribution, dispositional and situational. Dispositional attribution or internal attribution occurs when you believe that a person's behavior is driven by internal factors. Example, a person may cry on a subway because they're emotionally unstable or maybe because they cry easily. Either way, it is due to that person's internal factors. And on the other hand, we have situational attribution, also called external attribution. It occurs when you believe a person's behavior is driven by external factors. Example, you see the same person crying on the subway, you assume that their behavior might be due to an external situation. Maybe they saw something traumatic or they just got broken up with by the person sitting next to them on the subway. So, in summary, motivational theories attempt to explain how to motivate employees, and these theories fall into two categories, which are content and process theories.